Hello everyone, I am DG Bairam. Welcome back in this lecture. In the last lecture, we have discussed various problems related with the Gibbs free energy, and also we have calculated the standard Gibbs free energy of formation by using the different examples. So today we are going to discuss the problems again related with the Gibbs free energy. So let's start with the problem number 3. Okay, so problem is that find the standard Gibbs free energy change for the following reaction. So reaction is that 2 moles of CO gas react with O2 gas, it gives the 2 moles of CO2 gas. Here data is given. So 2 moles of CH4 gas react with 3 moles of O2 gas, it gives the 2 moles of CO gas plus 4 moles of H2O gas. And also delta G naught is given is minus 1088 kilojoule. Second reaction is CH4 gas react with the 2 moles of O2 gas, it gives the CO2 gas plus 2 moles of H2O gas, and delta G naught is equal to minus 801 kilojoule. Okay, so in this problem we have to calculate the standard Gibbs free energy change for this reaction. So first of all, after reversing the equation 1 and multiply equation 2 by 2. So we'll get 2 moles of CO gas plus 4 moles of H2O gas, it gives the 2 moles of CH4 gas plus 3 moles of O2 gas, and for this reaction, so delta G naught is equal to plus 1088 kilojoule. Okay, now for the equation number 2, we have to multiply by 2. So 2 moles of CH4 gas plus 4 moles of O2 gas, it gives the 2 moles of CO2 gas plus 4 moles of H2O gas, and delta G naught is equal to minus 1602 kilojoule. Okay, so we have done reversing the equation number 1 and multiply equation number 2 by 2. So we will get these 2 new equations. Now the addition of equation number 1 and 2, that is this new 2 equation. Here 4 moles of H2O gas from left hand side gets cancelled with the 4 moles of H2O gas on the right hand side. Also 2 moles of CH4 gas, 2 moles of CH4 gas, and also 3 O2 and 3 O2. So finally we will get the net reaction. 2 moles of CO gas, it gives the 2 moles of CO2 here. 2 moles of CO gas plus 1 mole of O2 gas, it gives the 2 moles of CO2 gas. Now also addition of delta G naught. So delta G naught equals to 1088 minus 1602. So we get the delta G naught equals to minus 514 kilojoule. Okay. So this is the final answer. Delta G naught for the given reaction. So delta G naught is minus 514 kilojoule. Let's move to another topic, that is the chemical equilibrium. Consider a general reaction small a into capital B plus small b into capital B. It gives the products. So in doing stoichiometric calculation, we assume that the reaction proceed to completion, that is the until one of the reactants completely exhausts. But it is observed that most of the reaction proceed to completion at a specific condition of temperature and pressure. So for such a reaction, we can assume that the reactants are completely converted into product. That means the reactants are quantitatively converted to products. Okay. But there are many reactions that stop much before the completion. For example, the dimerization of nitrogen dioxide. The dimerization of nitrogen dioxide, NO2 gas react with NO2 gas gives the N2O4 gas. Okay. Consider this reaction. Here the reactant NO2 is a dark brown gas and the product N2O4 is a colorless gas. When NO2 is placed in a evacuated sealed glass vessel, the initial, suppose I consider NO2 is a dark brown color and N2O4 is a colorless gas. Okay. When NO2 is placed in a evacuated sealed glass vessel, the initial dark brown color decreases in intensity and converted into colorless N2O4 gas. Okay. But over a period of time, we will observe that the content of glass vessel do not become colorless. That is, the brown color of NO2 becomes constant. That is, the concentration of NO2 gas will not change, and this reaction will attain a chemical equilibrium. So this is the most important thing in a dimerization reaction, the chemical equilibrium. So what do you mean by chemical equilibrium? The chemical equilibrium is a state where reactants and products remains constant. Okay, so chemical equilibrium is nothing but is a state where both reactants and products remains constant. That is the concentration of reactants as well as the products remains constant, known as the chemical equilibrium. Okay, but in a molecular level there is some activity. In a molecular level there is some activity. The rate of forward reaction, and the rate of backward reaction is equal. That is, we can say that the chemical equilibrium is not a static but it is a dynamic. So chemical equilibrium is a dynamic. Okay, so this is an example of chemical equilibrium. Let's see another example related with the chemical equilibrium. H2O gas react with CO gas. It gives the H2 gas plus CO2 gas. Consider this reaction. Suppose if we plot the graph, the concentration versus time, concentration versus time, so we'll get this type of graph. Suppose H2O and CO. Suppose this is the initial point, H2O and CO. Okay, when H2O gas and CO gas react with each other, then the initial concentration of these reactants get decreases like this. At the same time, the concentration of products, that is H2 and CO2 will increases like this. But over a period of time, the concentration of reactants and products remains constant and will get this type of graph. The concentration remains constant for both the reactants and products, will get this type of graph. So this point is known as the equilibrium. Okay, equilibrium. Here H2 gas plus CO2 gas. Okay. So this graph is a concentration versus time. The initial concentration of reactants get decreases and attain again chemical equilibrium. At the same time, the concentration of products will increases and again attain a chemical equilibrium. So this is another example of chemical equilibrium. Okay. I hope you got all these two examples related with the chemical equilibrium, that is the dimerization of NO2, that is the nitrogen dioxide, and H2O and CO. Now let's move to another topic, the law of mass action. Next topic is law of mass action. Law of mass action. So this law is suggested by Cato, M. Goldberg, and Peter Vage in 1864. Okay, in 1864. So this law is stated that at a constant temperature, the rate of any chemical reaction is proportional to the product of the molar concentration of the reacting substances with each concentration raised to a power equal to the number of molecules of respective reactants in a chemical reaction. Okay. So what do you mean by law of mass action? Law of mass action is stated that at a constant temperature, the rate of any chemical reaction is proportional to the products of the molar concentration of the reacting substances, with each concentration raised to a power equal to the number of molecules of respective reactants in a chemical reaction. Consider a general reaction. Consider a general reaction. Small a into capital A plus small b into capital B gives the products. Okay. So this is the general reaction. So according to law of mass action, according to the law of mass action, at a constant temperature, the rate of any chemical reaction, is directly proportional to the product of the molar concentration of the reacting substances. So the mathematical expression for the law of mass action, rate is directly proportional to the reacting substances. Here are capital A and capital B. Okay, the molar concentration of reacting substances with each concentration raised to a power equal to the number of molecules in a particular chemical reaction. So capital A raised to power small a and capital B raised to power small b. So this is the mathematical expression of the law of mass action. Rate is directly proportional to capital A raised to power small a into capital B raised to power small b. So we can write like this: rate is equal to K into capital A raised to power small a into capital B raised to power small b, where K is the proportionality constant, also called as rate constant. In this lecture, we have seen the problems related with the Gibbs free energy, and we have calculated the standard Gibbs free energy for a particular reaction. And then we also see the chemical equilibrium by considering two examples, that is the dimerization of nitrogen dioxide and also H2O gas and CO gas with its plot. And then we have also seen the law of mass action. Okay. So in the next lecture we will discuss the law of chemical equilibrium. I hope you got all these points. Thank you.